For all you that are entering service today, if you're looking to create some distance between your seat and the seat next to you, we have ushers in the Sacred Hall that have little signage here that you can put next to your seat. So if you like one of the signs, you can raise your hand and one of the ushers will find you. Thanks.
Gemar Chatima Tova. You're going to have to do better than that when the clergy come out. I'm just telling you that right off the bat. This is a good time, if you have cell phones on, to please turn them off. If you feel you need to have it on, appreciate it if you put it on vibrate to maintain the sanctity of the service for you and those around you. We ask you to please wear a mask at all times. The clergy, the shofar blowers, and the immediate office staff have all been regularly rapid tested, and so you may see them without masks, but we ask you to please keep your masks on at all times. If you or your family or somebody near you needs any medical attention of any kind, we have an EMT on the premises in the village center facing the parking lot. Go head out, find an usher or security or somebody that can guide you towards there. There's ample space in the sanctuary if at any time you feel like you might be more comfortable. It's a beautiful space. You can spread out there, and the service will be live streamed in the sanctuary. And finally, to ensure that we do not have everyone exiting at the same time when the service is over, we ask for you to please be patient. Those sitting by the west doors, please feel free to use those, or you can go out the east doors toward the front. In 2012, Joe and I traveled with other members of BJBE to Kol Nidre in the Czech Republic. We stood in a synagogue in front of an empty ark, which once held a Torah that is now in our ark behind me. In the rear of the synagogue was a very small cave-like room, and the congregants there piled potatoes at the opening to mask the room as a storage area so that they could hide there and pray. I think about this place a lot. The potatoes were piled high, leaving small openings, I imagine, to let the light in. Leonard Cohen, the prolific singer-songwriter, wrote, "There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly light. Our service will begin shortly.
find a space to just be. Can you hear our tone? Can you hear our tone? May you find your way back home. Can you hear our tone? Can you hear our tone? May you find your way back home.
So many of you watching from home, it's not how you would expect it would be again. So many of us searching our way in the desert, trying to find our equilibrium. It's not how we expected it to be again. And if there's one thing that we've learned, is that what we expect it to be may or may not be. But in this Kol Nidre, in this Yom Kippur, may we find our way back home, back to the center of who we are, back to the center of who we want to be. Dear God, grant healing to all who are afflicted. May we understand that we are surrounded by love, by friendship, and hope.
May we be safe. May we be free. May we find a space to just be. Can you hear our tone? Can you hear our tone? May we find our way back home. Can you hear our tone? Can you hear our tone? May we find our way back home. Ay, lay, 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 ya, lay, 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 ya, lay, 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 ya, lay, 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 ya, lay, 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 lay.
invite our candle lighters for this evening to the BEMA, our sisterhood co-presidents, Jackie Adelson and Bonnie Koss, and also Gavi Young. We're on page 9. Excuse me. Do that one, then pass it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom hakippurim. Baruch, source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur. As is our tradition, I would like to invite our president to come up to our bema to offer a few words.
Shana Tova. Gemar Chatima Tova. It is wonderful to be together with those of you here in person in the Sacred Hall and those of you live streaming from home. I am starting tonight the way we start our board meetings, with a short message or prayer, something we call a 2 minutes of intention. It is a way to transition from the bustle of the day to a spirituality that readies us for the synagogue work ahead. One of the central prayers of our High Holiday Liturgy is Utanu Tokef, which asks us to imagine that there is a book of life in a celestial dimension judging who shall live and who shall die, who shall have a year of ease and who a year of trouble. Rather than a literal interpretation, I suggest we try to understand these words as a metaphor. No literal book of life in heaven, where someone's name gets written down or blotted out for life or death, tranquility or trouble. Instead, the prayer highlights that we are all mortal, and we never know when we will die. Therefore, there is an urgency to doing the activities that give life meaning, teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah. Doing those things may not change whether you live or die, but they do definitely affect how you live and how it feels to be alive. We walk away from this prayer reminded of the responsibility to use our time wisely and well. What we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while. 2+ years ago, when I took on the responsibility of being president, it was no small decision. Of course, I did not know a pandemic would happen, that our community would be required to shelter in place, nor that the world would reopen with new challenges. Nor did I expect to be coinciding the end of my 3rd year as president with the retirement of our amazing senior rabbi. As every president, I had plans and visions for my term, many of which have been disrupted by the pandemic. The decisions we have faced as a community and as a board have not been simple nor easy. Each decision was carefully weighed and assessed for what is best for BJBE. I am proud of us, our members, our board, our clergy and staff, proving that when working together, nothing is impossible. At my first Kol Nidre talk 2 years ago, I spoke of the Parsha numbers and the importance of being counted, of showing up, and I asked you to give of your time. The response was incredible, with more members than ever participating in activities, education, and services. Last year, in the depths of the pandemic, I focused on gratitude. I shared my joy and spiritual awakening by finding daily moments for which to be grateful. It was important and uplifting to articulate each day a few things for which I was grateful. This year, I am combining showing up and gratitude to focus on community. When we show up, when we are full of gratitude, we create an openness that makes this community possible. Our definition of community has forever been changed by the pandemic, but what hasn't changed is our need for community, our need to show up however and whenever. We did what was necessary, including our clergy and staff morphing into an audiovisual geek squad, to ensure that BJBE community remains spiritually and emotionally available and connected. I am so grateful. Studies prove that finding joy in little things sparks a lightness, a smile that in most times is contagious in a good way. I am confident that if we show up and embrace gracefulness and gratefulness, our community will continue to thrive. We will, as we have for the last 125 years, build on the work of the previous generations, be fiscally responsible, and remain connected to this wonderful place. The image of the closing of the gates at the end of Yom Kippur adds urgency to doing the activities that give life meaning. If we don't have a deadline, some things never get done. And whatever the goal, it is always easier when we are doing it together. So I close tonight with an alternative Utanu Tokef by Rabbi Joseph Mesler. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed, that this year people will live and die, some more gently than others, and nothing lives forever. But amidst overwhelming forces of nature and humankind, we still write our own book of life. And our actions are the words in it, and the stages of our lives are the chapters, and nothing goes unrecorded ever. Every deed counts. Everything you do matters. And we never know what act or word will leave an impression or tip the scale. So if not now, then when? For the things we can change, there is teshuvah, which is realignment. For the things we cannot change, there is tefillah, prayer. And for the help we can give, there is tzedakah, which is justice. So together, let us write a beautiful book of life. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova.
We're about to settle in to a moment of Kol Nidre, a moment of contemplation and introspection. That is what this evening is all about. We go to those hard places, those dark places, those beautiful places. And so we offer you this evening what we did online last year during the pandemic when we were all at home. And that is a sustained moment of contemplation and reflection.
by listening to the composition of Max Bruch all the way from 1881 until this very day, entering into our souls in a very profound way. Page 14. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre, its sacred portal. A night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling.
We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God we fail to keep.
We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah.
We rejoice that we stand together, strengthened by community in this hour of shared weakness and humility.
We tremble. For tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding.
We rejoice that we commit ourselves to great endeavors because we feel so deeply and think so nobly.
We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might.
We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear of failure, to aspire to be God's image in the world.
We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life.
We rejoice with trembling and enter Kol Nidre to face our humanity.
I'd like to invite up the past presidents and the current president of our congregation who are able to be here this evening: Terry Argentar, David Gates, Jim Harfield, Sandy Holub, Jody Aldani, Gary Schaffel, Brian Tenner, Lisa Wilson. Please rise.
Kol Nidre ve'esarei ve'chonamei ve'chonamei ve'chinuyei ve'kinusei v'shevuot.
Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Let our words spoken, every vow, every oath, be honest and well-intentioned. Let our words cause no pain, bring no harm, and never lead shame, distrust, or fear. And if, after honest effort, we are unable to fulfill a promise, a vow, an oath, may we be released from its obligation and forgiven for our failure. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. We remain standing, page 20. V'nislach kol idat b'nei Yisrael. All shall be forgiven, the entire community of Israel and the stranger who lives in their midst, for all have gone astray in error. Moses prayed to the people and prayed to God. As you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. And God responded, I forgive as you have asked.
Page 22 will remain standing. Together. Chant your supplications to God in a melody that makes the heart weep, and your praises of God in one that will make it sing. Thus you will be filled with love and joy for the one who sees the heart. Page 24, we'll read together in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitfuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk. Page 28.
You are my witness, says Adonai. God is the first, God is the last. There is no God but Adonai. Testify for me, says Adonai. In your love for me, teach your children, embracing Torah now and forever. We accept God's sovereignty and reverence, treating others with love, studying Torah. May this be our will as we witness Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. Adonai is our God. Adonai is one.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי ויתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 38. Truth and faith. These are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. Together, we are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought
our people Israel from its midst
to enduring freedom.
Malchutecha ra'uvanecha Bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam Zeli anu ve'ameru V'nemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov Uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai God Yisrael
Page 42. This is the nighttime prayer. The nighttime which sometimes we face with great exhaustion. The nighttime sometimes we face with troubled hearts, restlessness. The nighttime sometimes we face with fear. Whatever your nighttime brings you, whatever this nighttime brings you, our tradition offers an image so that you can be held You can be held in your restlessness, in your fear, in your boredom, in your wondering. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom. God, when we lie down, please may it be for peace. B'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, so that we may awaken with life renewed. Ufros sukat aleinu, and spread over us a great canopy of your peace. V'teknenu beitzat tova melefenenu, and be our salvation. V'hagen ba'adenu, protect us, dear God. V'hasir me'eleinu oyev, dever, cherev, ra'av, v'yagon, keep far from us disease, war, great sadness. V'tzel kanafecha tastirenu, for I long to hide in the shadow of your wings. Ki el shomrenu matzilenu ata. You are a God that guards and saves. Ki el melech hanun v'rachum ata. And I believe that you are a compassionate God. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chaim u'l'shalom. And so, as I go out and as I come home, dear God, may it be for life and for peace now and forever. Froselenu sukat shlomecha, that I may lay under the canopy of your peace. Baruch atah Adonai, you are truly blessed, O God. Hapras sukat shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael va'al Yerushalayim, because you spread that canopy of peace over us, over all of Israel, and please God, over Jerusalem.
Page 45. Ki vayom hazeh yichaper alechem, l'taher etchem, mikol chatothechem lifnei Adonai titaru. For on this day atonement shall be made for you, to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence of Adonai.
Yit kadal vit kadash shemei rabah. Yisrael, Magalom is man kariv imeru. Amen. Yesh mirabah mirabah, yelom le'oyah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yidbar v'yidramam v'yidnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei l'greshah. Leila, Leila, min kol bechata v'shirata, tush bechata v'lemata, damiran milma v'meru. Amen.
Page 46, Adonai Sevatai Tiftach Ufi Yigiti Latecha. God, open up our lips, that our mouths may declare your praise. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. 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 מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא גולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך? מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אין הרחמים, זוכר יצורה, לחיים ורחמים. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך הקדוש.
Please be seated. We are on page 71. On this night of atonement, grant us, God, a sense of your presence as we call upon your name. Speak your hopeful message to each yearning heart and answer the worthy petitions of each searching soul. Purify and strengthen our noble strivings and cleanse us of all our unworthy desires. Join us together in fellowship and in love, and grant us the joy which comes from enriching other lives. Help us to be loyal to the heritage we share. Draw us near to Torah in wisdom and in faith. Strengthen our devotion to our people everywhere. Keep alive our faith in righteousness and truth. Bless us with hopes to uplift our daily lives and keep steadfast our courage and our resolve at all times. On this night of atonement, help us, God, to be worthy of your presence as we call upon your name.
Page 78. Peace, profound and lasting, all-embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people, in your goodness, author of peace. Bless us and all people, every season, every hour, with peace that is yours to give. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity. May it be a life of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. You are the blessed one, the eternal one of peace. Pause for a moment of silence.
We are on page 82. If you are able, please rise. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Together at the bottom of the page. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. nafalnu shaker.
Ay, 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 ay. Ya'atznu
Ya'atznu
Kizavenu
Kizavnu
La'atznu
Latznu
Maradnu
Maradnu
Niatznu
Niatznu
Sararnu
Sararnu
Avinu
Avinu
Pashanu
Ashanu
Sararnu
Sararnu
Kishinu Oref
Kishinu oref.
Ay, 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 ay. Rashanu
Rashanu
Shichatnu
Shichatnu
Tiavenu
Tiavnu
Tainu
Tainu
Titanu
Titanu
Ay, 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 ay.
Page 89. For the failures of integrity. We wrong you when we wrong ourselves. For our failures of integrity, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. For passing judgment without knowledge of the facts, and for distorting facts to suit our purposes. For succumbing in silence to social pressure, and for acquiescing in beliefs that we find offensive. For using others' bad behavior to excuse our own, and for blaming others for our mistakes and poor decisions, for pretending to emotions we do not feel, and for appearing to be other than what we are, for condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves, and for tolerating in ourselves the faults we condemn in our parents. Al chet shechatanu.
For failures of justice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We dishonor you when we dishonor our society. For our failures of justice, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. For being indifferent to deprivation and hunger while accepting a culture of self-indulgence and greed. Together. For abuse of power in boardrooms, courtrooms, and classrooms, and for accepting the neglect of children and elders, the ill and the weak. For permitting social inequalities to prevail, and for lacking the vision to transcend our selfishness. For glorifying violence and turning hastily to war, and for allowing history to repeat itself, for behaviors that risk the future of our planet, and for wreaking havoc on our only true inheritance, God's creation. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha.
Page 91, Al chet shechatanu, for failures of love, together. We sin against you when we hurt one another. For our failures of love, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. For exploiting another for our own pleasure, and for the wounds we cause through betrayal and deception. For withholding affection from those we claim to love, and for using love to control our spouses and partners, our children and parents. For abandoning friends and siblings whose love has sustained us, and for neglecting those who love us when they need us most, for harboring in our relationships mistrust, boredom, and disloyalty, and for rejecting our partner's efforts at repair and renewal, for possessiveness, jealousy, and avarice, for lashing out in anger at those
who are closest to
Al
us.
chet shechatanu. Help us, Holy One, to follow your ways of integrity, justice, and love. Teach us to seek forgiveness with humility and with an open heart.
Ve'al kulam
be seated. Page 98.
Hear our call, Adonai, our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past. Hear our words, Adonai. Understand our unspoken thoughts. May the speech of our mouth and our heart's quiet prayer be acceptable to you, Adonai. You are our rock and our Redeemer. Do not cast us away from your presence or cut us off from your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us away when we are old. As our strength diminishes, do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, Adonai. Be not far from us, our God. With hope, O God, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, are God. Surely you will answer.
To feel a Shivenu Adonai Elecha, Shivenu Elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh Yameinu, Yameinu, Kekadem. תשליכנו אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה תכלו
page 112.
We are about to read a series of prayers that talks about God as Avinu Malkeinu, which means our Father, our King. A very profound metaphor, because Father is not the same as King at all. A father, at least in the world of metaphor, is that person you crawl up on his lap, he reads you a bedtime story, he's close, he protects you. But the King is distant, unapproachable. You can't go near the King, danger when you come for the King. And yet here we say, Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, without even a comma in between, and it begs the question, so which is it? And it gives us the answer. It's both. Sometimes we are so sure of the presence of God, we feel at one with transcendence, and sometimes distant, alienated, not sure at all. Both of those states of being on this holiest of holy days is acceptable. We rise and we plead our case to Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. Page 114. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu va'a olaleinu vatapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, kaled dever v'cherev v'ra'av me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, kaled kol tsar umastin me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chaim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, chadesh aleinu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us for a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, malei yadenu mebirchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu, harem kerem mishikecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, na'al tashivenu rekam melefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu, kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu laman shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lamancha imlod lamanenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu, ptach sharei shemayim litfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu, shma kolenu, chus v'rachem aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice and treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu
Please be seated.
You remember on Rosh Hashanah I told you when I was writing my book, my first book so many decades ago, in the Cafe of Borders, and I wandered away from my computer, started roaming the stacks, wandered the section on business, on leadership, and came upon a book called Selling the Invisible and said, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I do. I sell the invisible. Immediately bought the book and understood my job description from then on. And I told you last week that in essence my entire life I've been in sales. And now, on this Kol Nidre, my final Kol Nidre as your senior rabbi, this is my best and final offering, part 2. Part 3 will be in May. And then it really will be the last and final offering. So this thing about selling the invisible, I've been wanting to tell you a secret. I might have let it slip a couple of times. I can't even quite remember, certainly not in such a public forum. And it's really, really important to me on this Yom Kippur, this day of vidui, of confession, that I come clean. And I tell you this secret right now because it explains so much of my life. And on Yom Kippur, we are asked to take off our masks, don't you dare, and to bare our souls. Yes, I dare. And here's the secret. I never really learned my multiplication tables. I really don't know what 8 times 6 is. Because you see, ever since I was a little girl, I dealt with the invisible. Anything that was exact, the squaring off, the multiplication, the knowing things to the absolute point, I couldn't do or wasn't much interested in doing. I preferred the fuzzy edges of reality. I would lay on my back as a young child, feeling the prickly grass of the Maryland hills, and watch the sunset. At the young age of maybe 7, even 8, and say to myself, what? What is up there? How is it possible that such beauty exists, that the leaf so green against the blue sky? But 7 times 7? And the truth is, as I was a daydreamer in school, as you can imagine, I wasn't really paying attention much to social cues. Not only was I not popular, but I wasn't very much liked. Was that you, perhaps? Or maybe one of your children? And as I was trying to wander my way through school, years and years in elementary school, 2 C's and the rest B's. Karen is not living up to her potential. Never say to a child, you are not living up to your potential. I started to develop this intuitive sense, the imaginative world. Then it occurred to me, as years went on, that I couldn't spell. I couldn't spell anything, way before spell checks. And so in order to be able to pass somehow, I developed a handwriting that was illegible. Really beautiful handwriting, totally illegible, because then you couldn't tell whether I could spell it or not. And even in my 3rd graduate degree, and my first degree was English, where I read a good 500 pages and wrote pages after page, I couldn't find anything in the dictionary. And it wasn't until years later I realized that I must have some kind of learning disability, dyslexia. They called it in the olden days. Today they call it something else. And I stand here today, having been rejected from rabbinic school the first time because they weren't sure I could keep up with graduate program. Confessing. But you know what? Is to be who you are a sin at all? Why do I feel the need to confess my inadequacies? It's not the inadequacies of who we are. It's not the imperfections of who we are. It's not the differences of who we are that we confess now. And I learned to love the invisible. And I learned to develop X-ray vision so that I could look at you in the eye and see who you really were. I see who you really are. Because you're no different than I am. We are small, and we are afraid, and we are lonely, and we yearn for love. Oh my God, how much do we want to be loved? How much is it that we want to give our love? We want to be bold and brave and beautiful. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful. And on this Yom Kippur, this last and final offering I have for you, I ask you to look in every single direction of your life. Look with me in every direction of your life and discover the essence of who you are, because the world is waiting for you. First, look backwards. Who was that person yesterday? 2 years ago? 10 years ago? 30 years ago? Who were you? What happened to you? Who loved you and embraced you and told you you were perfect the way you are? Who kicked you and pushed you out and said, you can't come in. We don't play with girls like you. Who ignored you? Who didn't see you? Who embraced you and brought you in and sat next to you? Who was your best friend? Who was your worst enemy? You look backwards because your destiny unfolds not only by the places you are allowed to go, but the places that are denied you. Every failure, every disappointment, every single success has led you to this particular moment right now. And this moment, thank God for this moment. We are here, we are now. Be brave, be bold, be beautiful. And having looked backwards, on this Yom Kippur, this Kol Nidre, look ahead. Because looking ahead will define what it is that you are going to do, what you are able to do. Somehow, as that child, I learned to have a very distasteful reaction to the word no. Don't say no to me. You can say, well, we could do it this way or we could do that way. But never say no. Because as you're looking at your life ahead of you, see only possibility. See only hope. Take along with you that person with your cracks and your dings and your dangs, those places inside of you that hurt, those places inside of you that yearn to be free. Take it with you and look down that path, because that is the path that beckons you to the next step of your life. And do not say no to the next step of your life. Say only yes. Face the future with hope and with optimism. Be bold. Be brave. Be beautiful. Imagine that anything is possible. I have X-ray vision, folks. I am telling you. I see you. Everything is possible. And even if it doesn't go according to your expectations, those places that you are allowed and those places that you are denied, that is how your destiny evolves. Look backwards, look forwards, and look to your right and to your left. As we like to say up here, take an opportunity to develop your peripheral vision. Look to your right and look to your left. Some of you know each other and some of you don't, but let me tell you the truth of what's going on right here. We are a community. And if you really needed something, if you needed help, if you needed support, that person to your right and that person to your left has formed a sacred community. That's who we are. That's why we're here right now. We are not alone. We may be alone in our silent nighttime despair, but when we step through the doors of this sanctuary, we are no longer alone. The people here are here to help you. It is the meaning of community. Speak your truth. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful. Speak your truth to one another, and we will hold each other up. Look backwards, who have you been? Look forward, see what is absolutely possible, and look to your right and look to your left, because there you will find love. And above, look above. What is above you? You know, as adults, we only have 3 kinds of knowledge. One is, I know. The other is, I used to know. And the third is, I don't know. I know, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I used to know. That green stuff in a plant, photosynthesis. I don't know is everything else. And the reason why we squirm and don't seem to fit into our souls is because we do not like to. As a matter of fact, we are afraid to live in not knowing. But look above, because religion isn't here to answer your questions. Religion here is to hold your questions with tender compassion. Those questions of the soul: why am I alive? Why is there suffering in this world? How do I find love? How do I self-actualize? How do I learn to forgive? Those questions of the intangibles, of the invisible, are held gently and compassionately in religion. We are people of questions, not of answers. Look backwards, look ahead, look up, and now let's look down beneath our feet. Long, long time ago, there was a man whose name was Moses, and he ran away from his essential self. He ran and he ran. He had everything. He was a prince of Egypt. But he saw the suffering of his people, and he killed the taskmaster. And he ran into the wilderness. And in this desert wilderness, he was lost. Have you ever been lost in the wilderness of some desert? And one day, one of his flock went wandering out. Couldn't find him, and he started to walk around, and all of a sudden he found a bush that was ablaze. And out of the bush was a sound, and it said, Moshe, Moshe, Moses, Moses. And Moses answered the only thing that we can answer in this moment. Moses said, Hineni, I am here. And God said, take off your shoes, for the ground beneath your feet is holy. You walk on sacred ground. The ground beneath your feet is holy. And God called out to Moses, go and tell the people that you will let them out of Egypt. You will tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses says, I can't. I am inadequate. I stutter. Moses, how dare I think that I need to confess the truth of who I am as if it is a sin. Moses' inadequacies are exactly what God needed. God said, I know who you are. I made you that way. I know who you are. God made you that way. I am coming to accept who I am. God made me this way. And as we look backwards in our lives, we carry with acceptance and compassion our past, and as we look forward, we do so with great hope. And as we look above us, we see that we are surrounded by holiness and goodness. And as we look to our right and to our left, we see that we are not alone, because every single person in this room is the same. We want love. Be bold. Be brave. Be beautiful. For you are beautiful, and the ground beneath your feet are holy. And this congregation has created a holy spectacle, no less and no more. Margot's playing a song right now. You know, I always like to talk as if I'm in a musical. I discovered this song many, many years ago. And when Cantor Frost first came to BJBE, and we were in the old building in 901, I said, can we combine the sermon with the musical anthem? Can we make it one thing? And you know what she didn't say? She said yes. And back, I think it was her last service in 901, we sang this song, and tonight we bring it to you again tonight on this last Kol Nidre as your senior rabbi. Because I hold for you the truth of who you are. You are brave. Be bold. You are beautiful. And we surrender ourselves to something greater than ourselves. We want so badly to tether ourselves to something eternal, to something transcendent, and we have done that. It is this day, now and today, that we are going to say, yes, Hineni, I am here. The ground beneath my feet is holy. I stand in your presence, dear God, and there are angels all around. I will be here for you, one for the other. We will take us with us, the good, the imperfections. We will look towards the future with hope and with goodness. We believe that we are under a canopy of peace. We struggle with our faith. We know that we will go shoulder to shoulder into this future, and I am telling you right now, the ground beneath your feet is holy, so walk tenderly. Walk gently, with love and compassion. Believe in yourself. Be bold. Be brave. You are beautiful.
When I walked through the doors, I sensed God's presence, and I knew this was a place where love abounds. For this is a temple, the God we love abides here. Oh, we are standing in God's presence on holy ground. We are standing on holy ground, and I know there are angels all around. Let us praise God now, praise God anyhow, for we are standing in holy presence on holy ground. In God's presence, I know there is joy beyond all measure, and in this place, sweet peace of mind can still be found. For when we have a need, God is still the answer. Reach out and claim it, for we are standing on holy ground. We are standing on holy ground,
Page 116. Please rise. Page 120. We stand as one on this night of remembrance, united in grief, united in loss, united in the power of a promise that God has made us, that God will sustain us. We give praise to this life and rise up together to renew our strength. 122. Together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, shmei d'kudsha b'richu, le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved, to which we'll say together,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
We invite our president back up to the bema to offer some announcements before our closing song.
For our beautiful services this evening, I'd like to thank our clergy, our choir director, Stephen Edwards, our pianist, Margot Schwartz-Newton, our cellist, Andrew Snow, and our wonderful choir. Thank you to HMS Media and to Matt Hoffman for your help creating our live stream service, and of course, thank you to our dedicated office team and maintenance staff. Tomorrow, Yom Kippur services continue with L'Dor V'Dor at 9:30, and the traditional service in the Sacred Hall at 12:30. We also have a Torah study session at 2:30, as well as our contemplation and reflection Yizkor and Nila services, which begin at 4 p.m., and they are open to the community. Parking again will be available at Rochelle Zell Junior Jewish High School. Please leave enough time to park and walk. If you are interested in the Yom Kippur celebration for families, the video link will be available tomorrow morning in our Yom Kippur service information email. If you have borrowed headsets or prayer books, please return them to the checkout desk or ushers as you leave. As a reminder, to ensure that we do not have everyone exiting at once when the service is ended, we ask you to be patient as people exit the room. Leave some space between the people in front of you. If your closest exit is the west doors and you're comfortable, please use those. Security personnel will be directing traffic as you exit. For safety and efficiency, please follow their instructions. In 3 weeks, a note of celebration. Cantor Curlin's installation will be on Friday, October 8th and Saturday, October 9th. You can find more information in your This Week email. Gemar Chatima Tova, wishing you and your families a happy, healthy, and sweet 5782.
Closing song, page 126. A rousing Adon Olam. Rousing.
בטרם כל יציר נברא, ליגנוס וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להחבירה, בלי ראשית תכלית ולא העוז והמזרח והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוזי בנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת תישן והעירה ואמרו כי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא
Tzom lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohe avotenu ve'imotenu techadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives be in this new year and renew our spirit and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. And may we all be inscribed in the book of life for a good year. Shana tova. Gemar chatima tova.